New star of the Democratic Party, former Congressman from Texas, Robert Beto O'Rourke has officially announced that it will participate in the presidential elections of 2020. Although O'Rourke eventually lost Cruz, losing on 200,000 or 3% of the votes, but the result was the best for the candidates from the Democrats for decades in this state, where Republicans have a very strong position. In media campaign, O'Rourke stepped up the Democratic Party, for which he began to compare with Barack Obama, which gave momentum to the Democrats in 2007-2008, on the eve of his victory in the presidential election. Among them is Senator Bernie Sanders, who calls himself a Democratic Socialist and was a powerful rival Hillary Clinton in a Democratic primary in 2016, Senator Elizabeth Warren, which promises to limit the influence on the policies of major tech companies and Wall Street, Senator Kamala Harris, the former Attorney General of California, offers tax reductions for the middle class and working simultaneously with their increase for corporations. He started it with a 3-day trip to Iowa. During a conversation with fans and journalists in Toccoa, O'Rourke laid out his platform on issues of health, of prison reform, raising the minimum wage, ending the trade wars and the development of rural America. Beto O'Rourke was born in September 1972 in El Paso, Texas, on the border with Mexico, in the family of the owner of a furniture store and judge. Is a descendant of Irish and Welsh migrants in the United States. While studying at the university, played the bass guitar in punk rock band The Foss. On the cover of the album of this band, released in 1993, the future politician was captured in a dress, and this fact is repeatedly used against Beto O'Rourke, his opponents from the Republican Party. 995 years Beto O'Rourke left the band. A few years he played in other bands, but the music never became his career. In the late 90s he became a co-founder of Stanton Street technology group company ISP and software producer, was the editor of the online edition belonging to the company. In 2005, with the election to the City Council of El Paso, began his political career. In the 2013-2019 years he was a member of the House of Representatives of the U.S. Congress from one of the districts in Texas. Now the former musician is perceived as a new star of the Democratic Party, as people can gather a huge crowd and to attract funding. It is called punk rock Democrat and compare with Obama. Mr. O'Rourke is fluent in Spanish, and this gives him advantages in the struggle for voters of Latin American origin, which in 2018 was 12.8% of the total number of voters in the United States. During the election campaign for the Senate in 2018, he managed to attract $80 million in donations. He also visited all 254 counties of Texas, talking to voters directly and documenting every moment of the journey in social networks. Several American stars have supported O'Rourke: singer Beyonce, actress Eva Longoria, actor Jim Carrey, rapper Travis Scott, comedian and television presenter Ellen DeGeneres. In February 2019, Beto O'Rourke held concreting voters in El Paso when it was made by the President Trump, campaigning for the construction of a wall on the border with Mexico. In December, the Washington Post reported that Mr. O'Rourke met with Barack Obama and someone from the team of the ex-president has supported the Texan in the election of 2020. Beto O'Rourke has captivated Democrats throughout America with their energetic, although in the end unsuccessful campaign in 2018, during which tried to defeat Republican Senator Ted Cruz of Texas. He became the star of social media, collected huge rallies across the state and announced the figures of the fundraising, which soon could boast of a presidential candidate than a Senate candidate. A former congressman from El Paso enters crowded presidential race candidates, but few of its competitors can boast the same stellar popularity, which is in O'Rourke. Bernie Sanders has passionate fans. Kamala Harris has collected 20,000 supporters at the launch of his campaign in Auckland. But Mr. O'Rourke has the potential to compete with them on equal terms. Sensible journalists lose their heads. Baseball caps with the inscription, Beto, seen in the cafes of Brooklyn and head of basketball star LeBron James. Despite the small summary, Mr. O'Rourke is a rare political phenomenon. When the late Texas writer Molly Evans noted that the presidential candidate must have little Elvis in itself. Mr. O'Rourke has Elvis. This Elvis enough to open a casino in Las Vegas.